Hello trucker family, this is Kevin with the trucker side. Our team is always on the trucker side, always on your side. We're making this video today to tell the truth about becoming an owner operator. This is my favorite type of video as we get to put the truth back in trucking where we don't have it. If you think we don't have the truth in trucking, hit a like over there so we know how many people believe this in the community. I want to start with the truth about being an owner operator, and I want to emphasize the difference between being an owner operator or a lease operator with a company and doing a lease purchase. These lease purchase programs are not driver friendly. I have said this before. I'm gonna say it again and again and again because people don't seem to understand. The philosophy behind these programs is the fact that most people do not finish the program, so it's only probably under less than 3% that actually go through with the program. So that means that the rest of the 97% will not own that truck, and that's something you have to consider very, very carefully. If you want to get yourself on the road to becoming an owner operator, this purchase is not the way. Get your own truck, buy it yourself, maintain it yourself, do everything you got to do on your own. Then you have to consider expenses. And what I mean by this is try and make sure that all the expenses you have and all the expenses you pay for, you pay directly. Because if a company facilitates these expenses, they will most likely charge a fee, an administrative fee. There's many wordings for it. I don't want to put them all in here, but basically every time you get something through a company, they might charge interest, they might charge a fee. So the cost of the actual product will be more if you buy it through the company versus buying it yourself. So try and pay for most of the things you can by yourself without having anybody, the company or a third party, facilitate it. Keep that in mind. Very, very important. Another thing you want to be very, very careful with when it comes to big carriers, companies that run hundreds or thousands of trucks, is the fact that the way they show the program and the way they do it is very different. And what I mean by this is most times they will charge a high percentage, and then you also have deductions. So make sure you understand very, very well what your percentage is, what your deductions amount to percentage wise. I would say a sweet spot for the deductions you have should be somewhere between 20 to 25% total. So make sure that if you already pay 25% of the gross, nothing else goes out of your settlement. If you pay a smaller percentage, 10, 12, 13, 15%, then you're gonna have stuff that goes out separately. Make sure you do these calculations, pen and paper, calculator, however you're more comfortable. Make sure you know these numbers every single month, because otherwise you're leaving a lot of money on the table, and trust me, you do need that money, every single cent out of it. Another thing I want to talk about is the way that your income is being presented to you, and this you got to be very, very careful with, because most of the time when somebody refers to the money you're going to be making, they will be talking about gross amounts. So if you hear that you're going to make $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 a year, nobody's saying that from the perspective of you take $100,000 or $200,000 and you take them home. No, they will tell you the gross amount that you make, and then when you take out all your expenses, all your deductions, everything that you need to pay for your business to keep on running, that number will be significantly lower. So when you see an advertising somewhere, or when you talk to a recruiter and they shoot some numbers at you, make sure you take a step back, make sure you understand those numbers, ask for transparency, and make sure you're on the same page with everything, because trust me, there's going to be a big discrepancy between the money you are grossing and the money that you end up keeping. So be very, very careful with that. Another practice that I see happening a lot, and you have to be very sharp in order to tackle this one, is the fact that the market fluctuates. So that means the market will go up, the market will go down. And one common practice between some carriers is that when the market goes up, they do not tell you, or they tell you with a significant delay. That means you've been running $2.20 a mile for so long, market goes up to $2.60, you're still getting $2.20 or $2.30. That's 30 cents a mile. Multiply that by the 10,000 miles per month we like to use as a reference. You're looking at a considerable chunk of money. You're looking at $3,000 that you're not getting, solely based on the fact that people are not being transparent and honest. So In this case, the only thing you can really do is trust the company that you work with, trust that they work for your best interest, and they put their time into you being successful. Most companies look at short-term gains, so they don't care if you're going to be there 2, 3, 5 years from now, and that ends up hurting your business. You are going to be somewhere in 2, 3, 5 years from now. Might as well be with the same company, might as well be with the same people you know, you've been working with, and people that have your best interest in mind. Now let's talk about one of my personal favorites that I see and I've been trying to explain to people for years. Some listen, some don't. Be very careful with the type of equipment that you choose to haul. There is a major difference when you haul a dry van, reefer, or a flatbed. And if you own a truck, if you're an owner operator or a lease operator, you want to consider these differences. And what exactly do I mean by this? If you haul a reefer trailer or a flatbed, the cost of the trailer itself is higher, so whether you purchase it or you rent it, it's going to have a higher cost per month. The reefer trailer is going to need maintenance on the reefer unit, unlike a dry van, and it's going to need fuel in the reefer. So those are extra expenses that you have. And then same with flatbed. For a flatbed, you're going to need chains, you're going to need chain binders, you're going to need tarps, you're going to need straps, you're going to need corner protectors, you're going to need a whole lot of equipment. And a lot of companies push towards this type of trailers because you gross more. They will tell you that it pays better, and yes, it does pay better. Average per mile is gonna be higher. However, when you draw the line, after you pay the extra expenses that you have, the fuel in the reefer, the maintenance on the unit, the extra weekly or monthly cost, the tarps break, you gotta fix them, straps break, chains get rusty, they get old. By the time you finish replacing your equipment and keeping it up to date, the actual amount of money you get to keep is the same or maybe less. So be very, very careful if you make this decision, because a lot of people, a lot of recruiters are gonna push you towards that direction, claiming that it pays better. Understand what paying better means. Understand what you make and what you spend, because otherwise the company that gets percentage is gonna make more money based on your gross revenue, but then you're going to have more expenses, and that's going to end up hurting your profits. That's what you want to look at, profits. To sum things up, in all truth, because that's what we want here, the truth in trucking, it's only good understanding of the industry, transparency with the people that you work with. These are the factors that are going to make you successful or not. Do not run your business based on promises or appearances, because they can be quite confusing. They're gonna paint a nice picture just to get you in. They have very good sales departments to make sure that they bring as many people in through the door as they can. Do not fall into that trap, and make sure you do your due diligence. Make sure you understand what you're working with, understand what you want to do. Ask us if you want to know more. We're always on your side. We're always on the trucker side. We're always here for you. Thank you for watching the video. Hit us a follow. Have a good day.